Hey, fabulous people. Welcome back to the channel where we talk all things empowerment, leveling up, and living our absolute best lives with style and strategy in the mix. Today, we're diving into something that every smart woman needs to know about. Two little contracts, a prenup and a postnup. Because we aren't just talking love, baby. We are talking love and business. But I want you guys to know the difference between a prenup and a postnup. So let's chat about prenups. So you're engaged to Prince Charming and everything feels like a fairy tale. But before you get lost in the romance of that big day, I need you to sprinkle in some real world wisdom. A prenup is short for prenuptial agreement, and it's basically a little contract that you and your partner sign before saying, I do. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Oh my God, that's not true love. Isn't that like saying I don't believe in true love or I believe we're going to get a divorce? No, my girlfriend. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's about protecting everything you've worked so hard for. It's about setting expectations before you walk down that aisle. It's about loving your partner enough to know we are going to make it, and this is going to help us make it. We're talking about spelling out who owns what, how assets are going to be divided, and even who's going to get custody of the kids and that designer handbag collection. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. But seriously, let's cover the things like income, inheritance, and one of the things, what are you bringing to your marriage? Are you bringing in a business? Are you bringing in a huge amount of wealth? So how does this prenup work in the real life? Well, it's like creating a map for your financial future. So everyone's clear on what happens in the case the relationship hits a bump or two. It's a way to handle these details when you're both in love and full of good vibes rather than when things get rocky down the line. So it's the best time to do a prenup. Everybody's lovey-dovey. They're perfect when the both of you are planners. You know the ones, the organized, the preparers, not afraid to look after our best interests. And by the way, prenups aren't just for the wealthy. Even if you're not sitting on a huge fortune right now, life can change fast and it's best to be ready. Trust me, it is a smart move. Oh, and a bonus tip. Prenups can also protect you from debt. That's right, if your future husband has student loans or business debt, a prenup makes sure that his debt doesn't become your debt. Did you hear me? It makes sure that his debt doesn't become your debt. And by the way, ladies, did you guys even ask your spouse about whether they owe a huge amount of debt? So now, let's talk about a postnup. What happens if you're already married and it's getting a little rocky into the postnup? It's like a prenup, but instead of being signed before you get married, you and your partner create this agreement while you're already in it. Yep, even after you're wearing that ring, you can still get things sorted out. A postnup is perfect for situations where maybe your financial circumstances change after you say, I do. So for example, you hit the lottery, you get a huge inheritance and you use part of it to buy a house. You get a big bank suddenly and a new job. It's to protect things as life changes. You need to know that when life changes, your financial situation changes and things are different. And a postnup is definitely a smart move. So when is a postnup a good idea? Let me break it down for you. Maybe you two have been together for a while and now you're noticing money matters are more complicated than you thought. Or one of you made a big career move and the finances have shifted. So now you're making $500,000 a year with a $1 million stock option and you want to protect your stakes if things go south. So postnup lets you reassess and renegotiate those terms while you're still happily married or working on staying that way. It's not about planning for a divorce. It's about making sure you both feel secure with the way things are handled financially. And sometimes a postnup can actually save a marriage because it takes the stress out of those money talks. So let's get down to the real tea on prenup versus postnup. Here it is. The biggest difference between the two is the timing. A prenup is signed before the wedding. Think of it as a way to start your marriage with everything out in the open. It's proactive, it's protective, and it's smart. A postnup, on the other hand, is for when you're already in the game, but you're realizing that things need to be negotiated because of change of circumstances. It's more like a financial tune-up. And trust me, it can be a lifesaver and it can be a marriage saver. Why both are about empowerment. Now let's get to the real for a second. Whether you go for a prenup or a postnup, it's not about being cynical or preparing for failure. It's not about thinking you're going to be a divorce. It's about being empowered. When you take control of your financial future, and I've said this before, you're saying, I'm not just hoping things work out, I'm making sure they do. Both agreements are tools for empowerment, protecting your assets, and giving you a solid foundation to stand on. They're not about planning for a divorce like everybody thinks. They're about planning for your future regardless of what happens. And here's the kicker. Having a prenup or postnup doesn't mean that you love your partner any less. In fact, it actually leads you to a stronger relationship because you're both clear on the expectations and working from a place of mutual respect. There's no wondering what will happen if. You already know. And as you know, many people fight over financial burdens, and this sort of takes that argument out of it. So there you have it, lady. Whether you're thinking about a prenup before your wedding or postnup after you said I do or I'm done, protect your fabulous self because you are your greatest asset. And if you enjoyed today's chat, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what financial empowerment looks like for you. And remember, you've got this. Do not be afraid to ask for a prenup or postnup. But also remember this. If you want that contract, be ready to disclose every single asset that you have, including the money in the Cayman Islands, including the money under your mattress, every single bank account, everything, your retirement, all has to be disclosed. So everybody's going in to sign this agreement knowing what the other person has. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will definitely see you in the next one.